Yeah, I said, man, we backs. 6 corrupt cops getting owned by lawyers. About to get into this one, boy. See what they own. Let's hit that like button. Already, shit. Already.
Anomaly.
To an officer pulling over the floor from blatantly lying to an attorney about the law.
So, what can I say about this case? It's an anomaly.
To an officer pulling over the Florida state attorney.
What are you arresting me for?
These are 6 dumb cops who got owned by lawyers. When the cops pulled this man over, the very first thing he did was pull out his phone and start filming.
And if you come to this side of the vehicle, I can keep recording you.
Turn it off.
The man, named Jesse Bright, had allegedly been pulled over for picking up a passenger from a place known for substance abuse. Still, clearly, Bright was ready to defend himself.
What the hell? Oh, let me go back and fix this real quick. Oh, I didn't hit the button. My bad. I thought I hit that. Let's get back into it.
What is the law? What are you arresting me for? I'm sitting here in my car. I'm just recording in case anything happens.
Being the criminal law expert that he is, he told the officers and the camera that he'd never heard of the law. Why? Because it didn't exist. Bright told the cops he would keep recording since it was his right, and that didn't sit well with the officer. They didn't know that Jesse Bright was a full-time criminal defense attorney in North Carolina who worked as an Uber driver.
I know what the law is.
I know the law. I'm an attorney, so I would hope I know the law.
And an Uber driver?
And here, man.
And an Uber driver.
You want my bar card?
The cops started getting aggressive, telling Bright that they would arrest him for breaking the law without knowing that the person they were talking to was a local attorney, ready to call them out on their lies.
I can keep recording you.
Turn it off and take it jail.
For recording you, I'm sitting in my car holding my phone.
So when one of the officers says he knows the law, Bright hits him back and says he knows the law too, maybe even more than him.
I don't care, man.
Okay.
I know my rights.
I hope so. I know what the law is.
I know the law. I'm an attorney, so I would hope I know the law.
The questioning continues with the police officers constantly trying to accuse the car of having a history.
Yes.
How long have you been an Uber driver?
Mr. St. Pierre, a year and a half, 2 years maybe.
Have you been stopped a lot? It's probably why you've been stopped because you're an Uber driver, right? Because there's a lot of history on the vehicle.
On this vehicle there's history?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Bright stays calm, denying all their allegations, even agreeing to have their canine sniff the car.
Well, here's your license. We're going to wait for K9 because I don't know if he might have dumped something under the seat and you don't want us to look. So we're just going to have K9 come out and smell. And if they do an indication, if not, then you'll be on your way, okay, sir?
Okay.
Bright even gets the police to admit that he won't be held responsible if they find any substances on his passenger.
I mean, if he threw something under the seat, it still has nothing to do with me. Like.
Okay, but it's in your car. I'm not saying it has anything to do with you, sir. I've never said that, did I?
No, I feel like
question.
someone's gonna be under the car and you're gonna say, I'm the driver, it's my vehicle, I'm responsible.
Negative, sir.
No,
Bright
that's bull.
gave these cops
That's bull, bro. They always say that, bro. You give somebody a ride, they drop something in your whip, you get pulled over. Well, it's your car, you're in possession for it, you're going to jail. Man, he full of baloney. He full of baloney.
lesson they'll remember forever, just like these following 2 police officers who messed with the wrong attorney on his property. This is civil rights attorney Emmanuel Olawale, and he has been pulled over by the cops on his own property. He was caught dumping trash in a dumpster when the police approached him because they were concerned he was trespassing.
Ladies, look at me. Now look at your man. Now look back at me. Now look at your man.
Don't turn this into an issue. Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
The man is doing what he's there to do when the cops stopped him asking for his ID.
If you don't mind, if you don't mind, can we see your ID? Yeah. All right.
Till that point, it's all cool. But when an officer begins to record the details of his ID, the alarm bells start ringing.
Don't run it. Don't run my card.
Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Springing right into lawyer mode, Emmanuel tells the police that they have no reason to run his ID and record it.
Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
You have no reason to.
The argument gets heated, and the cops accuse him of violating other people's property and throwing his trash in there, asking him.
I think it's just because they the law and they come across these citizens, boy, like they ain't smart. Like, oh boy, Uber driver and lawyer. This dude, civil rights lawyer on his own property, emptying his garbage. You know what I mean? Look like he had to drive kind of a ways. Trying to run this shit, they trying to mess with him. They about to get boy.
For his ID.
Well, we're going to at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property, putting trash in mine.
Okay, but this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law.
But the man isn't having it. He keeps telling them that he lives on the same property, so he's not violating anyone's rights.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So don't
no one said that you're violating any law.
No. Don't run my ID.
But when the police absolutely refused to listen to him, he pulled out the big guns on them.
No. Don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identified myself so that this won't escalate.
That's when the cops do a double take, as they weren't expecting to hear that. They did try to cover it up by saying that they had freedom to write down anyone's ID.
That's fine, but we can still mark down who we're out with, and so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
You didn't stop me. Don't turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
To add fuel to this dumpster fire, the officer once again accused Emmanuel of illegally dumping his trash.
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs to me.
Which is when the lawyer set the record straight, saying that the cops were standing on his property.
It belongs to me.
To you and you alone.
Yes.
But you know what they say, you can't teach the master. Emmanuel had his facts straight, and he wasn't afraid to tell these cops just how wrong they were.
But you've already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs to me.
Emmanuel ended the argument by saying that he was paying for the dumpsters since he lived in one of the apartment units.
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID.
But if you thought that was as bad as it gets, wait till you see how this cop tried to pull the same trick on a judge. These cops just pulled this man over for using his horn. But guess what they didn't know? He was a judge who knew precisely how to handle the situation.
You're gonna check the registration on this plate soon, mister.
As the man got out of his car to give the cops a piece of his mind, they asked him to get back in his car.
Sir, go back into your car. I'll be with you in a second.
And that is when the judge absolutely lost it. He asked the cops to check the registration on the car so they would know who they were messing with. And boy, let's just say that the threat was enough for the cops to run in the other direction. While the cops fixed their mistake with the judge almost immediately, it doesn't mean they always follow the rules.
Have a good day, Judge. You bet.
Just see what this next officer thought he'd
throwing
pull
his
off.
muscle around. So you better check these plates, boy.
Officer.
Judge, boy.
I like to think that I've got a...
I'm the judge that write their warrants too and shit. That's for me, boy. I ain't signing off on no warrants, boy.
relatively good idea about it.
An Australian cop stops this man and pulls him over while driving.
Here we go again.
Directions from our platform, sir, please.
But guess what? He doesn't know that the person in the car probably knows the law much better than him. Why? Because he's a solicitor. The cop approaches the solicitor, asking him to turn off the engine and answer a few questions.
Say that again, sorry.
Could you just knock your engine off for me, sir?
He claimed that the man's car matched the description of a vehicle reported to have been selling drugs in the area.
Why have you pulled me over this time?
Well, we just got a report of a vehicle matching this description, dealing drugs in the area. So, have you got your licence on you at all?
I have, yeah. Dealing drugs in this area?
That's correct, sir.
The man complies with the cop, but he makes it a point to mention that this is the 5th time he's been pulled over for the same reason.
What you need to do is take me off the ANPR registration, because this is the 5th time this month you pull me over. Do you understand that?
That leaves the cop a little confused. When he asks the driver if he's familiar with the police, the solicitor drops a bomb on the cop.
You know to the police talk?
No, I am not. I work with the police.
Okay. In what capacity, sir?
I'm a solicitor.
A solicitor, right.
The cop, obviously confused but still determined to be the winning party, accuses the solicitor of not looking like one because of his attire.
Solicitor, right. Normal solicitor attire there, I see.
To which the lawyer responds with a scoff, letting the cop know that he most definitely can't search his vehicle without a warrant.
So you're in a mood. Can you explain why you pulled me over?
Like I say, sir, there's been reports of a vehicle matching this description dealing in the area, so we'd like to take a look around if that's okay with you.
That's not okay with me. I do not consent to searching my vehicle.
He also accused him that his car smelled like cannabis.
Do you smell cannabis in this car at all, sir?
And the driver can't help but let out a laugh at how absurd the entire situation is.
Oh, we're pulling the old I can smell cannabis trick, are we?
Yeah.
Then he asked the police officer this.
Are you arresting me, officer?
I'm not arresting you at the moment, but we have our suspicions and we'd like to have a look around the vehicle.
What suspicions do you have?
As I say, this vehicle has matched the description.
Could I have those back, please?
Yes, of course.
And that is when he also decided to give the cop a law lesson as well.
Okay, under the section 163 of the Road Traffic Act, you are allowed to stop me. Under section 164, you are not allowed to search my vehicle unless you've got evidence that I'm carrying something illegal. Evidence.
At the end of the day, the cop really has no explanation to give to the solicitor and has to let him go. But the solicitor doesn't let him go without giving him a piece of his mind first.
You realise I've issued your police department with a section 10.
Don't spend hours or days of your life aimlessly scrolling through a catalogue of mediocre music when you can just use...
You need to take my vehicle registration off your ANPR database.
Okay, well, if there's no problem there, sir, we'll make sure that happens.
If this carries on, I will be suing for compensation for stress and undue time delay.
Okay.
This has happened over and over again.
No problem.
With no fair explanation why I'm pulled over.
Okay, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, sir.
Some cops are a little too brave when they're on the road, but just take a look at how this officer had nothing to say when a lawyer started questioning him in court. This is Officer Norris.
would call Officer Bill Norris, please.
A cop who arrested a man named Eddie Hall in Kentucky for driving under the influence.
Were you aware that the passenger was drinking? At the time, no, but since then, yes.
The only problem, he had no proof of it whatsoever.
And you were aware that he had an open container with him? I don't recall.
So, the matter was taken to a court, and the lawyer questioning the cop had some tricks up his sleeve that would leave everyone in the court shocked, including the judge.
Did you complete any supplemental reports other than the uniform citation in this case? Just what I have. So you have memorialized the events that have occurred in these 2 sheets of paper. Is that a fair statement? Yes.
In his opening statements, Eddie's friend Lewis, who was with him in the car, had this to say.
We started going towards his house, and we got pulled over just minutes from his house, 15, 20 minutes after he picked me up. I had an open container in his truck, drinking it. That's my fault.
While Lewis admitted that he had an open drink container in the car, Eddie absolutely wasn't the one drinking, though, as he claims.
He didn't drink a thing. I know that for a fact. It was me drinking.
When Eddie took the stand, he talked about how he was overspeeding just a little bit, right in front of the park that was closed.
When I was passing this park, that was, I pass this park to and from work every day, and I knew it was closed. I know there was a speed limit, but I might have been going a little faster than normal, but I wasn't really paying attention to my speedometer.
He then explained that initially it took him a few seconds to understand that the police car was flashing its lights at him.
I didn't know it till like 5 seconds of looking up in the rear view that he turned on his lights and was turning around, And by that time, I came to the stop sign, and then I was like, oh, I'm getting pulled over.
Eddie blatantly claimed that the officer who approached him looked like he was out to get him for a DUI, despite having zero proof of him drinking.
And that's when I was approached by an officer who seemed to be like trying to get me for a DUI right from the get-go.
The accused was brought in front of the lawyer, and the questioning continued.
And during that training, were you trained on, well, what did the training involve?
As Officer Batcher stated, it involved numerous procedures, as in driving, DUI detection, laws, etc.
The cop was asked questions about his DUI training just to ensure that he knew what he was doing.
During the training that you underwent at Eastern Kentucky, did they teach you in DUI detection and, I guess, prevention?
Yes.
When the cop started performing the eye test, he suspected Eddie was drunk.
Like, he asked me what I was doing. I said I was probably speeding. Gave him all my information, and like, you been drinking? I said, no, sir, not one drink have I drank.
After Officer Norris made the accusation, Eddie informed him that he had astigmatism, a condition that would definitely mess with the results. But the cop didn't seem to care.
And then he asked me to step out. I stepped out. He asked me to do the eye test, which I told him I have astigmatism. And it seemed like that didn't matter at all.
The lawyer then dropped a bombshell, showing the court the cop's official citation, where the events written were completely inconsistent with what the cop was claiming. He claimed that he smelled alcohol on Eddie's breath.
After I arrived on scene, Officer Batcher, as he had stated, made me...
Boy, this cop is cooked. He probably gonna lose his job. He cooked. He messed up at that scene, boy. He done.
He stated that he could smell the aroma of an alcoholic beverage emitting from Mr. Hall's breath. So I went up there and talked to Mr. Hall, asked if he had been drinking. He stated no, he had not been drinking.
But the citation also said that the man wasn't slurring his speech or had bloodshot eyes, which are both dead giveaways of someone being drunk.
You've indicated in your citation that his eyes were bloodshot and glossy, right?
Correct.
You're aware that a very common indicator of impaired drivers is slurred speech, right?
Yes.
And he did not have any slurred speech?
No.
He did not have a red or flushed face, correct?
Correct.
Which is commonly accompanying bloodshot eyes, right?
Correct.
Right.
Because the alcohol expands the vessels in the blood, right? The blood begins to flow. So that was an incongruence, right?
Correct.
Officer Norris kept answering questions, proving the lawyer right at each step, making the judge increasingly suspicious of his initial testimony.
When you asked Mr. Hall out of the vehicle, you have stated that he was very unsteady on his feet and could not keep his balance, right?
Correct.
As you were administering the horizontal gaze nystagmus, he did not sway.
Correct.
He did not fall over.
No.
He did not throw up.
No, he did not throw up.
He didn't stumble.
No.
He didn't lose his balance as you were performing the HGN test.
Correct.
The only reason the cop could give for the testimony was that the man's eyes were making rapid, uncontrolled eye movements.
Yeah, because that's
When I did that, I
astigmatism.
heard the max deviation, and I could see the involuntary jerking of the eyes. It was a flutter. I held it there for 4 seconds. I went back to the center of Mr. Hall's face, and then I went to the right part of his, the right side, and I checked for that distinct and sustained nystagmus and maximum deviation. And again, when I go to the right side, there should be no white of the eye showing, and you hold it there for a minimum of 4 seconds. And I seen that involuntary jerking of the eyes. I do this twice in each eye.
But the lawyer had an explanation that shocked the entire courtroom.
Are you aware that nystagmus can occur for a variety of reasons other than alcohol and other than just a simple medical condition?
Yes.
Like hypertension,
yes,
high blood pressure.
Correct.
The attorney brought
But
up
he
Eddie's
didn't-
astigmatism.
But he didn't take none of that into consideration. I don't think he knew that. I think he's just agreeing with that now because he's getting schooled. But I don't think he knew that.
Norris out for not listening to the accused when he told the officer about this condition in the first place. Officer Norris tried to save face and says he learned what signs to look for, but the lawyer quickly shuts him down.
So you've learned what type of nystagmus to look for.
Correct.
Are you an ophthalmologist, Officer Norris?
No, sir.
So you wouldn't know what to look for, boy.
Not an eye doctor.
No, sir.
You don't have any medical training.
No, sir.
You wouldn't know what to look for then, boy.
No, sir.
The cop claimed to have paperwork, but soon enough it was clear he had no record of what he was claiming.
You did not have a body camera on you.
No, sir.
On September 15th.
No, sir.
They oh, wait a minute. Whoa. No body cam. He was out in his official attire without a body cam. What the hell was he on? What was he on, chat? Because cops, when they're in their official attire, right, they supposed to have that cam on them and running. When, you know what I mean? What was he on? He was on some dirty cop shit, boy.
Camera?
No, sir.
In his closing statements, the lawyer asked the cop once again if he had the paperwork or footage of checking the man into jail, like he was claiming he did. While Officer Norris claimed that he did have paperwork, he said that he'd not brought it to court that day.
Did you bring any of that paperwork to show to the jury that you calibrated this radar? No.
After all this, Hall was found guilty of speeding and was charged with a $100 fine. But as far as the DUI charge is concerned, the jury declared not guilty, proving that the cop was lying.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Edward Hall, guilty of reckless driving under instruction number 5 and fix his punishment at $100. Under instruction number 6, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol.
Not guilty.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Edward Hall, not guilty of operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol under instruction number 5.
He was trying to get him, boy. That cop, telling you, he was out, he was doing some dirty shit. He didn't even have his cam on. He had no body cam with him at all. Not that he just left it in his car, he just didn't bring it.
Sometimes cops can bank on the fact that people don't know their rights, but the next cop got owned when the suspects they held knew exactly how the law worked. In a shocking turn of events, on February 23, 2017, attorneys Victor Reville and Megan Garcia found themselves handcuffed for the very thing they do best, defending their clients' rights.
We have not broken the law. So if you're arresting us.
The day began with the attorneys accompanying their client, Mr. Edwards, as they left a Blount County courthouse. As they stepped out, Blount County Sheriff's deputies made their move.
Yeah.
I'm from the Sheriff's Office.
Their intention? To serve a search warrant exclusively for Mr. Edwards and his vehicle.
Do you have any other weapons on your person at this time that I didn't know about? Or say?
No, sir. I'm in the car.
Okay.
Demonstrating full compliance, Mr. Edwards handed over his car keys and subjected himself to a pat-down.
You have the keys to your automobile? Yes, sir. I need the keys to your automobile right now.
That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. The client's 3 phones, believed by the deputies to contain critical evidence, became the point of contention. With 2 of these phones safely tucked away in attorney Megan Garcia's briefcase and not on Mr. Edwards, the deputies were in a quandary. The cops possess a warrant for Mr. Edwards, but instead of pursuing the correct legal channels, they take a drastic step. They arrested the attorneys on charges of obstructing government operations.
You both are under arrest for obstructing government operations.
Obstructing government operations.
That's correct.
Through it all, the attorneys kept claiming they're being arrested wrongfully, but the cops clearly didn't care.
I'm being arrested for obstructing government operations.
That's correct.
Let me take off this right here.
If you don't mind, take them properly. That way they'll
The prosecution also offered to drop the charges if the attorneys would write them a letter apologizing and saying that the deputies had done nothing wrong. But of course, the attorneys were never going to agree to that.
This search warrant, this warrant was given to him after he gave us some things for us to use in his defense. And so we did not do anything to keep you all from doing you all's job. Now, if you all want to
I'm out here
this
with
satchel and go through and do it,
at the courthouse.
we're not preventing you from
doing a search warrant on the car. And I'm out here just videoing.
And I understand your point, but understand ours.
After a full day of trial proceedings, a Blount County judge acquitted the two attorneys after they made the case of refusing to consent to a search without a warrant, which was totally within their rights. Defense attorney Clayton Tart emphasized the acquittal's significance, suggesting the charges should never have been filed in the first place.
Man, these cops better stop messing with these attorneys and these FBI agents, because they just losing their jobs left and right and losing cases, boy. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one.